Hi, Saurabh. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adrian. Thanks for inviting me to your show.
To begin with, could you share your story about how you became a HR leader and, importantly, what sparked interest in coaching?
My HR career actually started with manufacturing. So I remember, I was in the comfort of a B school, and then suddenly I was thrown onto the shop floor in manufacturing. And this was a time that, I had to deal with unions, factory HR, industrial relations. And I must say, it was like baptism by fire. So really enjoyed those 4 years. And then subsequently, I moved over to financial services. And I think that's where I've kind of spent most of my HR career. One of the values which are core to me is on learning. And I feel that has probably driven my intention to be selective on roles which allow me to do a little bit of experimentation and also, give me a diversity of experience. So that's something which I've enjoyed. From the beginning, I was very keen to work in different countries. So whenever, those kind of roles came in, I was quick enough to grab them. And I have been able to live and work in 4 different countries till now. And I must say, Adrian, it has been a very rich experience of understanding cultures in these different regions and making a connect that, how culture affects behavior of individuals. I mean, I would also say I have been incredibly lucky, have worked with great leaders and managers from whom I have learned a lot. And look, my career has also gone through lots of ups and downs. And I have also worked with some really difficult people, difficult bosses, stakeholders. And at that point of time, I hated it. But I think if I reflect upon it right now, that has given me an ability to be resilient and also learn from those experiences. So yeah, I guess that's what probably has shaped me as an HR person. Coming to your second aspect around coaching and how I got interested in it, it's incidentally actually the same period last year. I was very curious to invest on my upskilling. So I was looking around that what is it that I should do, and I was reading through, looking at courses offered by different institutions, but something was not resonating. So I was just not able to really get inclined and sign up for those. And then by, I would say, stroke of luck, I met one of my ex-colleagues who mentioned about this coach training program he had done. I was very curious, so I went back, did my research, and I straight away signed up for the first module. And it was amazing. It was just so satisfying. Then I loved it. So I straight away then went on and registered for the next set of modules as well. I have done now almost more than 100 hours of training to be a coach. And I'm now actually in the certification journey. And it has been a great experience, Adrian. So that's how, I kind of discovered coaching.
Congratulations on that. And how has your personal experience with coaching informed your leadership style as a HR leader? Are there any lessons that you have learned along the way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it has been deeply satisfying to me as a person and as a professional. It has helped me in my journey to improve my self-awareness. So it has been a journey of self-discovery. I have also been able to make conscious choices, which has resulted in, for me, taking certain actions. I have been a student and now I'm also being a practitioner of coaching. So some of the skills which I have really adopted from it are that I have become a better listener. Sometimes, we tend to listen with an agenda. So now I try to practice a more active style of listening. I have been able to start trusting my intuition, Adrian. So, we are always very rational human beings, which is fine. But, there are also things sometimes where we should start listening to our gut. It requires a lot of experience. And, that's something I'm kind of trying to do. So, look, I feel I'm really scratching the surface right now. And there's so much I can do. And it's going to be a journey. One of the other things which I would mention is some of the tools and techniques I have got exposed because of my coach training has been remarkable. And because I'm now working with my own clients during my certification journey, who are, by the way, amazing people, come from so many diverse backgrounds and they're doing some amazing work, I am able to deploy those tools and techniques to work with them on their goals. And that to me is really fulfilling.
And given what you have gone through so far and what you are doing professionally, how do you envision coaching shaping, say, the future of HR as well as the workplace? And is there a role that it plays in, say, things like employee development and retention?
It's a it's a really good question, Adrian, and look, I think it has immense potential. So I firmly believe it, and after going through all this, at an individual level, it has potential to actually impact a lot of personal development. And we all, being human beings, go through a lot of experiences, difficulties, and challenges, which shapes us as individuals. Sometimes, we tend to develop self-limiting beliefs. Sometimes we tend to behave in the way others expect of us. So those elements which are kind of deep down is something which a trained coach can help address and let an individual connect to what their real values are and what they are at the core, which then really drives transformation and forward action. So I think from a individual personal effectiveness point of view, it has a great impact. Then I would say at a more professional level, it can have a real impact on people's career. My experience has been that whenever an individual comes across a major change, be it in their professional life, whether it's a promotion or it's a career transition, moving locations. For leaders, it could be taking up bigger teams. There is this resistance in us kind of process, and it's quite natural because we all don't like change. But coaching actually can help in making some of those decisions easier for us. So I think both at a personal and at a professional level, it has a big role to play. Now, on a more fundamental leadership level, we have kind of always experience leadership as task orientation, which of course has changed over the last years. And I think COVID-19 was a fundamental shift where a lot of leaders shifted their style to being more compassionate and caring and authentic. So I do see a big impact, coaching can play in journey of leaders, of accommodating their styles to suit purpose they are trying to drive, or the organization they are in, or the culture the organization has. So because all these key leadership positions have impact on so many people, working with a professional coach can actually make a big difference for leaders. So I think those are some examples, Adrian, where it can have a lot of effect on engagement, on retention. The other thing, Adrian, I would say is that on the work front, in the past, we have seen a lot of improvements which have been driven on productivity because of adoption of technology or, applying the latest management thinking. It is also, the systems way of thinking and implementation on processes where a lot of productivity gains have been realized by organizations. I feel the delta which currently exists on maximizing human potential is huge. And that's something where personal development of employees working along with each person can actually unlock it. So, at an individual level, if we work with people's aspiration, values, it can really drive a huge amount of engagement. And that would really turn around the overall productivity, in my view, at the work setting.
For leaders and managers who wish to incorporate coaching into their leadership style, obviously one of the things they could try to consider is to mirror yourself, to go through that few hundred hours. But potentially not many people might be keen to go through that long and lengthy journey. So on the other hand, for people who may want to get some practical tips that they could just help get them started, what are some tips you can offer to help them get going, or some baby steps to move towards incorporating coaching into their leadership style?
I would say there could be a couple of principles, Adrian. So the first one which resonates with me is around looking at people as whole. So what I mean by that is, if we take an iceberg, let's make a metaphor and apply that on an individual. We all know that 90% of the iceberg is actually below the surface, and it's only that 10% portion which is visible. And this 10% on an individual is really understanding their language, their behaviors is what we see. So what we are not able to see in a person is really their beliefs, their values, their fears, emotions. So One of the things which we all can do as human beings, not just leaders, is really be curious and and active listening. So we are able to then just try to understand the whole person rather than looking at just the behavior loss. So that's one for me. The second one, I would say, and this is also one of the cornerstones on the coaching program I'm doing, is people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. Now, what it means is when we approach people, or if someone comes to us for help, generally our assumption is that something is broken and it needs to be fixed. But fundamentally, every human being has innate capacity to carve out their own solutions. So they have a lot of resources and they can solve their own problems. So what we can do as leaders is ask right questions and let people decide what is the right action for them to take, rather than imposing my own agenda onto them. So I think that requires a lot of self-management and getting into conversations without a preconceived notion. So I feel, those are, Adrian, some of the examples which are very simply all of us can take, rather than, as you said, going through a detailed training program. Don't forget, we are going to deal with a completely different set of professionals in the future who may have a far more need, or they may actually demand it, probably, their predecessors.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making time today. And I think we've learned so much about coaching from your personal journey, from your personal story, as well as how all this could have a great impact for the workforce of today as well as tomorrow. Importantly, impacting not just the existing generation, but also for the future generation to come. For people who may be keen to learn more about yourself as well as what you do, where can they go and find you?